Good morning, everybody. What's happening? It is your boy, Memphis. You can find me on Twitter at DWZ Memphis. Maybe you're watching this on Twitter live via Periscope. And with me this morning, we're going to hit you with some player props. We're going to hit you with some flex plays. It's my man, MattyBigChest. You heard me talk about him a lot on the Dynasty Warzone regular show on Wednesday. You've seen him here live on YouTube talking about things like injuries and starts and sits and players to waiver wire and stuff like that. But good to jump on and just do a show with you, Matty. How you doing this morning?
How you doing, Memphis? MattyBigChest here, aka the Flexmeister from the YouTube channel. I'm doing great, man. I had a great night's sleep, about 8 hours, and I'm ready to tell y'all about my flex plays of the week.
Well, man, we thought we'd just jump on something we're trying to do a little bit more normal, I guess a more normal schedule here on the Dynasty Warzone. A lot of stuff's going to happen in the next 8-9 days. So starting Monday, I don't know, after week 9, you will start hearing the injury report on Tuesday, Matt's coming out of the weekend Dynasty takes. You're going to hear everything as a podcast on the Dynasty Warzone podcast platform, and then everything we do on the podcast platform will be available on YouTube. So it's been brought to my attention from talking to some fans and listeners, and I guess in this case, watchers of the show, that not everyone consumes media the same way. Now, I'm a podcast guy. Matty is a big YouTube guy. But I think everybody should be able to enjoy the Warzone how they want to enjoy the Warzone. So be on the lookout for some new podcasts, and everything's going to continue to be on YouTube. But the reason why we're here, Matt wants to hit you, as he dubbed himself, the Flexmeister. The Flexmeister wants to hit you with a couple of flex plays this weekend. And then me, one thing we've not been able to do due to the recording time of the Fabulous Big Bet is get some of the better player props. I wind up betting these on the weekend, but there's no way to convey those to you, the listener. So I was like, Matty, let's jump on a quick YouTube. Let's jump on a quick live stream this morning before we get going about our busy Saturdays, and give these people some players that we like from both a flex and a player prop standpoint. So Matt, I'm going to give you the mic. Why don't you jump in with the first guy that you're looking to flex this weekend?
Yeah, so we're going to hop into Oakland versus Tampa Bay. This is a guy who is on fire on Twitter right now. I know that people like Ball Blast M has been just forcing him down people's Twitter feeds this season. It's Ronald Jones against the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders offensive line, they're going to be missing Trent Brown. I think Tom Brady's going to have the ball quite a bit in this game, and he's going to be looking to run the rock. This is Bruce Arians' guy right now. So I think Ronald Jones in that regard is going to pop this weekend. If you have him, I would be flexing him. Too bad this isn't Thursday Night Football. I would have said Travis Fulgham because he's my guy. I love Travis Fulgham, but I'm going Ronald Jones for running back this week.
I will stand behind you, and I will endorse that call. So over the last 3 games, Ronald Jones has averaged 20 rushes a game. He's been over 100 yards each of his last 3 games. And something that I really like is that he's averaging about 4 receptions a game. Kind of one of the knocks on RJ, Ronald Jones, is that he wasn't involved in the passing game enough, and he's averaging about 5 targets a game, and he's converting those into catches. So a great play. I've got him fired up in a league myself. I like it. I need to look at some Ronald Jones props. Maybe I can get a good number. The first thing that I have for you guys this morning is Jared Goff on mybookie.ag or on DraftKings. I have Jared Goff under 250.5 passing yards. I bet the under, and I bet it one of the bigger bets I've made of the season. I very rarely will you find me questioning bookies and those that set the lines. I mean, these are incredibly intelligent people with state-of-the-art software helping them create these lines, but this one right here is just baffling to me. I don't know if it's just Jared Goff's average on the season, But the last two times Jared Goff has played the Bears, he played them in December of 2018. He went 20 for 44 for 180 yards and 4 interceptions. Then he played them last year at home, same place this game is played in LA. November of 2019, he went 11 of 18 for 173 yards and 1 INT. He could add 50% to either one of those total, well, almost 50% on the 180, and still not get there on the 250. So I went back and I did some looking. Now, in fairness, Jared Goff would have covered 250 plus in 4 of his 6 games this year. It's a little misleading, though, because he's played teams like the Cowboys, like Washington, teams like that. Only Matthew Stafford this year would have had more than 250 yards against this Bears offense. The only player. All 6 games. Now, they've played Phillip Rivers. They've played, and not that Phillip Rivers is great. They've played Teddy Bridgewater. That offense has been on fire. And they have not given up in anywhere really near 250 yards. Except they played Matt Ryan in Atlanta. And I think he had 237 yards. I don't see how they came up with this number. I don't love it for Goff. I think they can still win the game. The Rams won the game last year. I think it was 17-7 or 13-7. It was a real low-scoring game. May have to go bet the under because not only is the Bears defense playing well, but so is the Rams defense. So, with all that said, my first player prop of the weekend I like, and I have wagered Jared Goff under 250.5 passing yards. What do you think, Matty? And give us another flex.
That seems like easy money there, Memphis. I might have to go lay some money on my bookie on that bet because I really like that one. I'm not the biggest Jared Goff stan.
Well, I'm a huge Jared Goff stan, but the numbers are what the numbers are, man. I mean,
it is true.
And let's be honest, it's a game where you just want to get a win. If you're a 4-2 Rams team, this is not college. You don't get style points. You're trying to get the win and get on down the road. So I just saw that number. It's something I do on Fridays. Depends on where you get your player props. They start rolling in Friday, and they're usually complete, and everybody's props are in by about lunchtime on Saturday. And I was looking through last night. I knew you and I were doing this broadcast this morning. And I was like, that one was like one I had to like rub my eyes. I would have now it would have been a lot less tempting had it been something like 224.5. That's a number I've seen quite frequently out there. So I don't know if he's getting the McVay bump. I don't know if they're just aggregating and averaging what he's done this season per game. It just felt extremely high based on historical precedent and what this Bears defense has given up. So enough about Mr. Goff. We know we're going under there. What are you doing with your next flex?
Yeah, so I do want to touch quickly on that Rams-Bears games. I think that Malcolm Brown is going to be the back to play this week for the LA Rams. He's the one who goes against the hard defense matchups. Bears are a hard defense to run against. If you have Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson, you might want to play Malcolm Brown over Darrell Henderson this week. Darrell Henderson showed up on the injury report with a thigh injury. So I think Malcolm Brown's going to get the bulk share of the carries. But I'm going to go to the Saints versus Panthers game. The Panthers just lost their star defensive tackle, Kewan Short, for the year. They like to build around the defensive line, and they don't have that defensive line nose tackle there besides Derek Brown now, who's a rookie. So I'm going to go and say Latavius Murray. I watched this man go against Detroit. He, on second down, was getting 9 yards almost per carry on second down. I think that against a Panthers defense that's pretty porous right now, Latavius Murray could be a Kareem Hunt to Alvin Kamara's Nick Chubb. So that's my take for this week on the flex. He's a little bit of a deeper flex.
Well, with 4 teams on bye this week, including 3 top of my head that have good running games, you're already missing Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison. You're missing the Colts backfield, mostly JT, but I could see a world where someone's been flexing and using Naheem Hines as a deep flex. And then the Ravens, they are, if you're a Ravens GM, you'd be missing Ingram or Gus Bus. I guess in a real desperation mode, you could be playing J.K. Dobbins, who's not seen a ton of work yet. But so I agree. And I do have a question for you. It's going to validate your selection of Latavius Murray, but it's also gonna raise a question. So Michael Thomas has been ruled out with the groin or hamstring. I think it was a hamstring, soft tissue injury. Popped up Thursday, going to miss the game this weekend. Then you have Emmanuel Sanders on the COVID list, so he's not going to play. What do you think about, like, in a DFS GPP? What do you think about taking the big Hail Mary on a guy like Traquan Smith? I know I didn't prep you for this, but you're the flex meister. I mean, we know Drew Brees is going to throw the ball, and I feel like, I mean, you're playing Kamara, you're playing Drew Brees. I guess you could gamble and play a little Jared Cook. You know, tight end's been a dumpster fire this year, so I could see those three. But what do you think about, like, if you're an underdog, like if you and me were playing head to head and you were the big favorite over me? I mean, I'm supposed to lose anyway, so why not go down swinging? Why not throw a Hail Mary like a Traquan Smith in this lineup? I could see a ton of volume for him. Any thoughts on him before I give you my second player prop?
I've given Traquan Smith a lot of time on my dynasty benches to develop, and this might be the time to play him. But I really think that the Saints are going to focus on that running game because, look, the Panthers line is decimated. They lost their best player on it. It's going to be Alvin Kamara week. It's going to be Latavius Murray week. I think Jared Cook, like you said, is going to eat. And on the other side of the ball, a little DFS darling for you, Ian Thomas. This guy is going against the Saints defense that's allowed a season, I think, like the highest points to tight ends on the season. So Ian Thomas could step into a big role for Teddy Two Gloves and have a good game. But going back to Traquan Smith, I've always liked the guy. I've always liked his talent. He's fast. But Drew Brees has not passed the ball downfield too much. So maybe I'd be looking at Deontay Harris to flex for a deep league. And, you know, he's small, he's fast, he's going to get hit on crossing routes. Hopefully he can get some yak. That's what I'd be praying for.
Well, I think we're on the same page. We know that that's a high volume offense. You're looking at it from the Latavius Murray, and I could see this very similarly. It's a division game. You could see New Orleans just want to get in, get out with a win, and move on to the next one and hope to get their starting two wide receivers back. I think that's a good call. I am going to jump over to the Kansas City-Denver game, and I am going to prop Patrick Mahomes over 22.5 rushing yards. Now, he is never going to be confused with Josh Allen. He is never going to be confused with Lamar or Kyler. But Patrick Mahomes will scoot out of that pocket a little bit more readily than people realize. So I saw this number, and I remember this prop from a different podcast I listened to last year in the Super Bowl. And after a weird stat line in the first game of the year against Houston, he had 0 rush attempts for 0 rushing yards. But since then, he's been averaging 7 rush attempts. He's been over averaging, 7 rush attempts a game over the last 5 games. So he's not afraid to dart out. Now, a lot of times he'll extend the play and look to move the ball downfield. But over the last 5 games, he's got 165 yards rushing. That's 33 yards a game. So this prop tells me that he has to hit half of what he's averaged over the last 5 games. And then if you go back last year through the playoffs, he also averaged 33 rushing yards a game. I like this prop. And then look at Denver. Denver gave up 17 rushing yards in week 1 to Ryan Tannehill. That's pretty close to 22. They didn't give up much to the very statuesque Big Ben and Tom Brady in the backfield, but they did give up 76 yards rushing to Cam Newton last week, and they gave up 86 yards rushing to Sam Darnold before the bye. So all that being said, I think this is a defense that he will be able to, scramble out of the pocket a little bit. The only thing I ever get concerned with these quarterback props is that when they are leading at halftime or they're leading at the end of a game and the quarterback takes a knee. The Patrick Mahomes prop that really hurt people during the Super Bowl. He took that really weird. He dropped back like 3 additional steps and then took a knee. And depending on where you got your number, he may have won or lost you that bet. But 22.5 is, like I said, it's 65%, 67% of what he's done the last 5 weeks and going back to last year. So I like and I bet Patrick Mahomes over 22.5 rushing yards. Matty, what do you think about that one? And then give us one last flex to take this thing home.
Yeah, so Mahomes over 22.5 rushing yards seems like a coordinator for the head coach, I guess now, and he's a good defensive coordinator as well. So I think that a rushing quarterback like Mahomes, who has the ability to rush, is going to roll out of the pocket and take his first downs. So I definitely think he's going to scramble for at least 3 first downs, and that's going to equal, I think, over 22.5 rushing yards. And my last flex play is he's a little bit of a rapper. His name's Cole Beasley. He's playing the New York Jets. He's got about 6 to 7 targets a year. He's playing 60% of his snaps. But you know who's out? John Brown. John Brown's out. And Cole Beasley, he's playing like playoffs Amendola right now. And I love playoffs Amendola. So I'm starting Cole Beasley in a lot of leagues. He's my guy this week, and I think he's going to have a touchdown and about 80 yards receiving.
All right. Well, you live. This is the part about following the Dynasty Warzone live on YouTube. I am going to, as Matty and I are doing this, I am going to go to that game. I would normally prefer to use my bookie, but it's easier for me in this case to do the left-thumbed. What are those guys over there in New Jersey? Oh yeah, DraftKings. Here we go. So we have here are the props on your man, the Beasles. They don't have any props on the Beasles. They have props. The receiving props are for Stephon Diggs, Devin Singletary, Frank Gore. Let's see under receptions. Same thing. So again, it's early. Not all of the props are set, but you have inspired thought, Matty. I am going to keep an eye on looking for a player prop yardage bet for Cole Beasley. I like it. He has shown to be consistent. And I didn't get a chance because the game was like 4 or 5 o'clock on Monday, and
yeah,
as much as I love football and dynasty and fantasy and gambling, I still have one of those things called a job, a real job, and I had to get to the gym, so I only caught bits and pieces of that game. But the one play that I remember, and everyone who knows me or has been in leagues with me knows I'm a Josh Allen stan, but I watched him miss Cole Beasley on one that Cole Beasley he threw it maybe a half a yard behind him, and had he hit him in stride, he may still be running as we speak right now. It was a beautiful route. I mean, he had, and I'm not being hyperbolic, he probably had 8 yards of separation from the next closest defender, and he just put the ball behind him. It was just frustrating because I'm a big Josh Allen guy, and I think that would have accentuated your point. But I'm kind of glad that he didn't, because if he did, it would have went in the algorithm for the people who create the props over at mybookie.ag or over at DraftKings. So that's something that I'm going to be digging into later this afternoon, Matty. But, this is what I wanted. I wanted to get on here. I wanted to talk a little shop for about 20 minutes. What do you have for these fine people before they go on about their Saturday? You know how it is. There's gonna be some poor sumbitch out there drugged to a pumpkin patch. He's gonna be paying $20 a pumpkin. I see your point. You're gonna be paying $6 for a cup of cider, maybe a caramel apple. But what's one last nugget you want to give these people to think on before they go on about their day?
Yeah, so think about Keelan Cole this week. Think about his matchup. Keelan Cole has been getting about 4 targets to 5 targets a game at his lowest. He's playing the LA Chargers. He's not going to draw the number 1 corner in Casey Hayward. He's good. He's the downfield threat, it seems. I watched him against the Detroit Lions put up like 100-something yards on us. He didn't have a touchdown, but he had a lot of yards. So I think that Keelan Cole might be a good name to watch. And then you can find me on Twitter at MattyBigChest. If you have a flex option that you are uncertain of, tweet it at me. I will give you my honest opinion, what I would do. I would not tell you any other way. I would not tell you wrong. Or you could tweet Memphis too. I know Memphis is very active on Twitter as well. He'll tell you as well. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at MattyBigChest.
Well, I just want to take this opportunity, and I have been every chance that I've had. I really appreciate what you and Dr. Kyle have brought to the team. I mean, with the injury report, the graphics, if you're watching this live on YouTube, you might think it's like a dream. You might have, got too much sleep. You might have had one too many last night. You're like, this is not the normal Warzone that I see on YouTube. All these smooth graphics and everything that you see here, That is the work of my man, MattyBigChest. If you're looking for an MFL customization for your league, maybe it's too late now, but if you're looking for something, he does a lot of hours, and just a great dude if you need some graphic stuff. And you see the little trailer gimmick at the bottom of the screen, ViridianGlobal.com. My man designs all of our t-shirts. So we're going to hear a lot more from him, not only on YouTube. He's wearing one right now. Now you're wearing the DWZ. Now I was cold because it went from 78 degrees yesterday in Indiana down to 43 this morning. So
Same in Michigan.
I'm representing an old school wrestling school t-shirt. No, like it's a camouflage. I'm not getting ready to go out and shoot any deer. I'm getting ready to go lift some weights. I'm trying to get a big chest like Matty there. But, man, we're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to take this thing home, and we're going to wish you a great Saturday. We'll all be around. I'm at DWZ Memphis. He's at MattyBigChest. You can find Dr. Kyle at DWZ_Dr. PT. And, of course, Jerry at JerrySin DWZ. Guys, we're going to be here all weekend long helping you with your football stuff. Hit us up if you have anything. But until next time, on behalf of Matty, I am Memphis, and here at the Dynasty Warzone, we are just trying to make the world a better place for fantasy football. We'll see you this weekend. Good luck, everybody.